All right, I think without further ado, let's get started with this webinar. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time out to join us today. So for today's webinar, we'll be introducing the SkillsFuture Career Transition Program and answering any questions you have about transitioning to these careers. So I'm Tricia, and ICT Product Manager at NTUC LearningHub, and I'll be your host for today. So throughout the webinar, if you have any questions, feel free to enter them into the Q&A box below, and then our subject matter experts, our team, we will address them throughout the webinar and also during the Q&A session at the end. So this is today's agenda. I will start with an overview of the SkillsFuture Career Transition Program, the key features, the funding in store for you, and what you can look forward to. Then thereafter, our subject matter experts will actually dive deeper into each program, and then we'll end off with a Q&A session. So today, the three programs that we'll be sharing about is actually the Data Analyst program, the Oracle Java Programmer, and then the Cybersecurity Associate, which is powered by KPMG. And for our Data Analyst program, we actually have one of our ex-trainees who has joined us today to share about his experience and how he has actually pivoted his career into the data analyst space. All right. So these are the key program features that I would just like to highlight to you. So the SkillsFuture Career Transition Program is actually supported by SkillsFuture Singapore. And it's a train and place program to support mid-career individuals in acquiring industry-relevant skills to improve their employability and pivot to new sectors or job roles that are highly in demand. So throughout this program, what will happen is that trainees will actually attend our training courses in addition to career advisory services and employment facilitation. So if you take a look at the first circle, one of the key strengths of our program is that it's designed in collaboration with leading knowledge partners and subject matter experts, such as Microsoft, AWS, KPMG, ISC Square, ISACA, so those logos that you see at the bottom of the page. So what this means is that our courses actually features industry-relevant content and certifications to ensure that you can make a very smooth transition to your desired role in the workplace, and that the skills and certifications you have gained are actually in demand. And the second point is that in addition to structured training, you will also have several opportunities to apply what you have learned on a real-world on a real-world problem through capstone projects and or on the job training, for example, in the case of the Cybersecurity Associate program. So this will be in the format of either independent and or group work, depending on your program, of course. And the third key feature is that, in addition to all this structured training, you will also receive career advisory services to enhance your employment prospects, which I will share more in the next slide. So throughout the program, our in-house career facilitation team will actually be coming in to support you with these 4 points that you see. So the first is actually we will arrange for a career resilience executive workshop by E2I. You will benefit from job matching initiatives and regular career fairs and webinars. You will also receive personalized virtual advice on resume writing, interview strategies and techniques, and digital career coach via a career agility hub application throughout your career. Right, so these are just the 4 main points. And of course, throughout your program, if you need any assistance when it comes to employment facilitation, you can also reach out to us and we will find out how we can best help you. So NTUC LearningHub, we also have a very strong track record in delivering placement-based programs. And if you look at all these employers and then companies featured on this screen, we have actually successfully placed our trainees into these companies. But of course, do note that, when you join this SkillsFuture Career Transition Program, there isn't any placement guarantee. But of course, you and I together will try our best. So how did this program even came to be about? So in designing these programs, we actually studied in-demand skills and jobs reported in the market and made sure that these programs are relevant to industry needs. So according to this APAC Digital Skills Research Report published by Amazon, there is an increasing trend in adoption of new technologies that has transformed jobs across sectors, so giving us all opportunities to better our skills and pivot to new careers. And in fact, as an estimate, Singapore will need an additional 1.2 million digital workers by 2025, a very sharp 55% increase from today's levels. And so with this program, we hope that, the SCTP, which we have designed in partnership with knowledge partners and subject matter experts, that you can upgrade your digital skill sets to pivot into emerging job roles with strong demand. So if you're interested, then the next thing you'll be wondering is, am I eligible for this program? So the program eligibility is relatively straightforward. It's really just these 3 key points that you see here. So first of all, you have to be a Singapore citizen or PR, age 21 and above. You must fulfill the minimum entry requirements of each program, which I'll share in the next slide. And throughout the program, you must achieve 75% training attendance for each module and pass all associated assessments and projects. So these are the 3 key criteria that you have to consider. All right, so as long as you fulfill these 3 criteria, please feel free to send your application for our review. Now on to the entry requirements. So I would like to just share 4 programs here today. And if you take a look at the entry requirements, of course, they differ. So we have the Associate Data Analyst program, which requires a minimum diploma in STEM. So STEM meaning, a science, technical or engineering or mathematical course. For Oracle Java programmer, we need a minimum diploma, preferably in STEM, but that's not necessary. For the Digital Marketing and Graphic Design Specialist program, we need a minimum NITEC. And for the Cybersecurity Associate powered by KPMG program, we need a minimum diploma in STEM and a minimum 2 years experience in network or system administration. So currently these programs, they are delivered full-time, about 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day, and range from 3.5 to 4.5 months. And then do note that the Cybersecurity Associate program is slightly longer because it consists of 1.5 months of training and 3 months on-the-job training at KPMG. So currently we offer full-time programs, but part-time programs is also something that we're working on because a lot of the applicants that we have actually reviewed have expressed their interest in part-time programs. So if that's what you're interested in, just send in an application. And because the part-time programs is something that is still a work in progress. So if you're wondering about the mode, so whether it's virtual or face-to-face, that's what you can see in the 4th column as well. So VLC means virtual live classes. So virtual live classes take place virtually, just on Zoom, right? You don't have to come down to any training facilities. So that's the Data Analyst program, the Java program, and then the Cybersecurity Associate program. So for the Cybersecurity Associate program, while the training is virtual, the on-the-job training with and at KPMG may be face-to-face. I'll leave that to my colleague to explain a little bit further later. And then for the Digital Marketing and Graphic Design Specialist program, it is hybrid, meaning some courses are face-to-face on Zoom, which you can take at home, but some classes we do require you to come down to our training facility at Bras Basah because of certain computer and software that is required. So the class start date is something that you can see as well. So the Associate Data Analyst program starts in late November, Oracle Java programmer about mid-December, and the Digital Marketing and Graphic Design Specialist and Cybersecurity Associate starts 1st January. So for all these programs, we've actually run our first cohort. So what you're looking at these classes would be the 2nd cohort. So because there are limited seats for these programs, if you find that you're eligible and you're interested, do apply as soon as possible. So the next thing you may be wondering is, what kind of funding am I eligible for? What is my net payable fee? Right. So that all depends on your profile. So if you're a Singapore citizen or PR age 21 and above, you can get 70% of course fee funding. If you're a Singapore citizen 40 years old and above, you can get 90% cost fee funding. And if you are either, long-term unemployed or in need of financial assistance, meaning you're currently on, home care or welfare income supplement, or you're a person with disabilities, then you can get 95% of cost fee funding. Yeah, so That's not all. So after the, basic course fee funding, whether it's 70 or 90 or 95%, you can still tap on other schemes, such as your post-secondary education account, your PSEA, your SkillsFuture Credit, your SFC, or your Union Training Assistance Program, UTAP, to lower your net payable fee as much as possible. Right? And the program fees after funding is all presented in this table. So all these the full course fee is before GST. And what you see in the subsequent columns, whether it's 70% funding, 90% funding, or 10% funding, it includes GST. So this is the net fee payable, right? Depending on your profile. But of course, just a reminder is that, there are still many untapped funding schemes that you can use. So if you're wondering, your eligibility, what am I eligible for? What's the amount remaining in my, other funding schemes? Not to worry. You can reach out to our course consultants, and we'll actually help you to find out, what funding schemes you're eligible for, and also what of course which program is more suitable for you as well. So before I talked about before I refer you to our course consultants, just to share the application process, right? So let's say you're interested in this program. So what's next? How do you submit your resume and profile to be considered for this program? So first, scan this QR code to head to our program landing page. Right, and on our landing page, you'll see the 4 programs that I've just shared about. And there's also an Apply Now button. So click Apply Now for the program you want to apply. And then you'll be led to an external site, Zopa. All right, so there you will see the program title that you're applying for. So just click Apply Now again, and then you'll be led to a form to fill in your profile and upload your resume. So be as detailed as possible when you're filling out the application so that we can assess your profile well, right? So just now we shared about the eligibility criteria, meaning whether a minimum diploma in STEM, a 9-tech, 2 years experience in network infrastructure, and all this. How do you assess that? Is really all based on your profile. So do share as much as possible so that we can make sure that you are well suited for the program. And of course, shortlisted applicants will be contacted for an interview. And so this is what the process looks like, right? So after you apply to us, we'll evaluate your profile, we will contact you for an interview, and upon successful enrollment, that's actually where you start the training as well as the career advisory services. Okay. So if you're interested, or if you would like to, send in further queries, if you would like to find out actually how much, am I eligible for this program? How much funding am I eligible for? If you want to just find out any specific questions, feel free to scan this QR code, and you'll actually be led to a form to contact our course consultant will contact you. And that's where you can, share a little bit more about yourself and any questions that you have. All right. So I think next up we have our presenter for Oracle Java programmer, for the data analyst programmer, for the data analyst program. And we'll also have a trainee share a little bit more about his experience in this program and how he has successfully pivoted into the data analyst space. So over to you, Aditya.
All right, thank you so much. Very good afternoon to all of you, and hope you all can hear me clearly. So before I begin my segment, I'm sure that all of us have heard about data analytics, what being a data analyst means, and I will be providing you more insight into that when I present. But what's better than to actually hear somebody who's gone through the journey and has been in the space where you all could be over the next few months, right? Prepping to be a data analyst, going through the rough waves and trying to learn and being successful in learning and then actually pivoting into that data analyst career. So my name is Aditya, and I'm from a company called Xaltius Pte Ltd, which is an NTUC LearningHub content and delivery partner. And through one of the earlier SGUS or SCTP, as it's called now, programs, we onboarded a very special person, Francis, who you see on the screen. today. So don't be deceived by his age or by his looks, even though he is very old, 70 plus, but he still packs a punch. And he's one who comes with great knowledge from his previous background, and combined with the data analytics skills that he picked up during the program. Today, he works with us as a data science content developer and contributes his data analytics skills, business intelligence skills to whatever he works on in our organization. So I'm going to let Francis share his journey over the next 10 to 15 minutes so you get a better idea of what he went through. So Francis, over to you, and then I'll take over after.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody. I hope you can hear me loud and clear, right? Now, I've been a journalist all my life. For the past about 40 years, since 1977, So just 3 years ago, I was shocked and saddened to discover that journalism and mass communication is no longer a viable industry. Everybody is reading news online, but nobody is paying a single cent to SPH, and it's on the verge of bankruptcy. So I realized that there's no career future in the communication field. I need to move to a different kind of work where the demand is urgent, but where there's not enough talent because the knowledge and skill set are still relatively new. But the question is, if I'm going to learn something new, can you teach an old dog new tricks? What do you think? If you say you can't, then you are perpetuating a myth. The human body may grow old, but the mind doesn't. As long as your brain continues to acquire fresh knowledge, it remains agile, adaptable, and young. With this thought in mind, I decided to explore those new tricks that might lead me back to the future, as you know in the movie about going back to the future. So I decided to explore some of the new skills that are required for a new career. But the thing is that new tricks doesn't mean that I have to learn a subject that is so different that it would take a whole lifetime just to master it.
I think we lost Francis there for a bit. We'll just give him a minute to be back. Apologies, probably having a slight technical issue, but we'll just give him a minute to be back. I think he's back on screen. Francis, take it away.
Yes. What is there any difficulty? No, right?
We can hear you now. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I realize the information industry, it is still alive and well, but except that other than writing and publishing information, which is something that has no career, employers are now talking about analyzing information. So this is known as data analytics. I discovered that data analytics is quite new and that there is really a shortage of people who are trained and certified to perform it. I have no idea actually what is data analytics. So it is, but then I compare it to swimming. When I was a kid, I used to go with my classmates to Farrer Park swimming pool, but I would never go to the deep end. We would just play in the children's side, you see. So one day, somebody from my school came and insisted that I go to the deep end with him, you see. He was a school swimmer, so he knew what he was talking about, you see. So he told me, he says, you just follow what I will teach you, and then you'll be swimming very well. So he showed me how to move my arms and my legs in such a way, you know, that I could tread water and stay afloat. It was quite surprising to me when I realized that it was actually not that difficult. Do you know that if you can't tread water, you just cannot swim? There's no point in learning to swim. So once I could tread water, I have no interest in going to the shallow end. I would be all the time in the deep end playing there. You see? And then eventually I go for advanced things like scuba diving, just because I was able to tread water. And I find that most of my friends were able to tread water. So learning data analytics is a bit like learning how to tread water. There is really nothing difficult about it. You see. Now, when you analyze data, what you are doing is you are trying to convert data into information. Information is simply data with context, right? And then once you have that information, it should be able to give you some insight. Insight means seeing the inside picture of the organization to understand how the business is doing and where the business is heading, right? So from conceptual understanding, you will learn to go into the deeper end of the pool. That was how I was supposed to learn about the program. Now, before the program started, I made the mistake of sharing the news of my enrollment with a former colleague who used to work in administration. He also knew nothing about computers and analytics. But based on hearsay and rumors, he warned me that I would be drowned before I even reached the mid-course, because he said that I need to learn about calculus, algebra, and a lot of other difficult maths subjects. You see. He assumed that like most Singaporeans, I wouldn't be able to count more than the fingers on my hand. You see, and then he told me, in data analytics, you got to pass Power BI, and Power BI will strangle you until you're blue in the face. So I asked him, what's Power BI? He said he has no idea what is Power BI, but he knew that it is a terrible thing, you know. Luckily, I was aware that my former colleague like to exaggerate and frighten people. So I ignored his remarks. Then I went ahead with my course. That was last year. Mine was a 9-month course. That means twice the length of what you will be seeing. Now, when I started the course, the instructor presented concepts and important themes so that we understand the nature of data analytics. There will be enough time to do hands-on, but first we had to know about things like statistics, calculus, and all the other mathematical subjects. The instructors were very patient with us. They would make us practice and practice the calculations until we get them right. You know, when you are doing maths calculation, by the way, I failed maths in my Sec 4, no? But when you are doing all this, it is not much difference from repairing or servicing a car. You just follow the micro steps and then you will get it right. You see. Then we were also taught to handle database management tools like Excel, Access, and SQL. By the way, Access is a little known Microsoft productivity tool that is very handy in managing your personal data. Anyway, back to Power BI. Power BI is the analytics tool that sort of the foundation for a career in data analytics. You see, it is a program that I really find very useful, and after a while, you know, when I practice on it, I get sort of addicted to it. You see, the data analytics course provided me with plenty of hands-on practice using Power BI. The instructors would give us real-life data sets, such as employee records, stock inventory, sales, and revenue. And then one of the projects that I have to do, I try out with the data on nursing homes in Singapore. Sooner or later, I would probably have to end up in the nursing home. So I might as well do data analysis on the available beds in the nursing home in Singapore. And I find that, well, there's not much to worry. There'll be beds enough for us when we grow old. Now, the thing is that when you have this skill in Power BI, what will happen is that you will have one leg up against other people who are going for the same jobs. Yeah, you see, most jobs nowadays would consider data analytics as something essential. It is as essential as, say, word processing or PowerPoint or Excel in the past. You see, so I mean the only career where you don't need Power BI will be probably preparing Chichong Pan or Nasi Lemak, right? Well, after Power BI, we continue to learn things like machine learning and Python coding. See, Python coding is simply writing some instruction for the computer in a language that is very special to that the computer can understand. You know? It is really not that difficult. You see. So then when we do machine learning, we are merely using data to try to predict the future, to see what is the business, how is the business doing and where it is going. You see. All the classes are conducted via Zoom using a built-in camera on your laptop. Zoom is quite easy to set up. Say right now you're using Zoom, so it's not a problem. Now the learning outcome, you got to at least have a 80% pass mark in the test, and you must do capstone projects. And the instructors will guide you all the way to make sure that you are on the right track. And as long as you put in the required hours of practice, it is really difficult to fail, right? It's just like swimming or playing the piano, you know, or doing surgery, you know. You just practice, and you can do it with one eye shut. You know? The other side benefit of attending this course was the regular notification by the course administrators about fresh job openings relating to the skills that we are being taught. You see, so you have so you are always being alerted to such things. You see. And now I think that's basically what I have experienced. It is a good learning process, and with enough perseverance, you can do it. Thanks.
All right. Great. Thank you so much, Francis. I hope, you know, what Francis shared will be an inspiration for, everyone here. If he can do it, I'm sure that, everybody else who is aspiring to be a data analyst can also follow the same path. So thank you so much for your sharing, Francis, and for all the insights. I think you already explained 50% of what I wanted to. Thank you for that. All right. Let me continue from where Francis left off and tell you a little bit more about the data analyst program itself. I hope that you all can see my presentation slides. So I'm just going to talk for about 10 to 15 minutes before I hand it over to the others on why you should become a data analyst. What does it entail? And also, what are the insights? What is the program about, right? What does it consist of? So let me go through that in a little bit of more detail. So as I mentioned earlier, my name is Aditya, and I'm from a company called Xaltius. We are a NTUC LearningHub content and delivery partner, and we do a lot of corporate trainings, consulting in the data ecosystem. I myself transitioned into the field of analytics and AI about 10 to 11 years ago. And since then, I have been constantly in touch with what's going on. And, today, being a data analyst is a very significant thing. It has, skyrocketed. The importance has skyrocketed quite a fair bit over the past few months. And even for us at our organization, we constantly keep hiring data analysts, data scientists, data science trainers, and anybody who's passionate about the field of data analytics. So if you go through the program and you're looking for a change in your career, feel free to hit us up as well. Now, one of the key things why the data analyst role has become very important is because of two important words every company or organization is going behind: digital transformation. We have all heard the term through one of our fellow colleagues, peers, on the news, by the government, and everybody around you. Right? Individuals, organizations, everybody are going through this shift of transitioning from a non-digital, non-tech role to a tech or digital role to kind of give them a little more, help or value in what they are doing. Now, what helps you in your digital transformation journey, or how does being digitally transformed actually help you and the organization that you are a part of? Number one, digital transformation helps in automating processes, right? So if you are somebody who knows about data analytics, you can help automate business processes very easily. Secondly, you can help set up data pipelines in the organization. So you become very important from managing the data lifecycle perspective. Data analysts in an organization give them a platform for exploring data. A lot of organizations, pre-COVID actually didn't have the infrastructure, didn't, want to dive into it because of, the fear of getting drowned. But today, everybody is jumping into the pool, irrespective of whether they're going to drown or not, because they know that they can achieve it, right? And they require people to help them in this as well. So organizations constantly improve using digital transformation tools. Now, as an individual, you need to know a few things in order to be a data analyst. You need to know tools which allow you to work with data, like Excel, Power BI. You need to know tools that allow you to present data, like PowerPoint, for example, or Power BI again. Programming tools like Python will definitely help you in doing analytics better, give you the flexibility to do things like machine learning, deep learning, and so on, and give you that edge over what others know. Right. So that is why it is important to be part of such a program, so that you learn these skills that are necessary. Now, going into the next few years, the demand for data analysis is not going to stop. Right. I think in the initial presentation also, it was mentioned that the requirement of people in the digital space or the data space is in the millions over the next few years. So the digital world is becoming more and more complex. Hence, more and more people are required, right? And any organization today has data, right? Be it a retail organization, be it a financial organization, be it logistics, aerospace, travel. Everybody has data, and everybody needs to use this data to do something. Data analysis, data science outweighs traditional IT roles, and it is a very, very exponentially fast growing field today, right? And there's less rivalry in the IT sector with data science. So it gives you a better chance to, rise up the curve and improve yourself as well. Thirdly, data analysis has become the center of decision-making for any organization. So every organization, as I mentioned before, is looking for data-driven decision-making and data-driven processes to govern the organization. And lastly, the best part about being in the data analyst space is that you are very close to cutting-edge technology, right? So you will constantly keep learning about new things, new developments in technology. You will constantly, work with data that is coming in from different systems, different places, and you will find that it's very, very exciting to be in that tech space, right? So 2022 and beyond, 2022 is almost over, but going in towards the end and into 2023, there are countless job opportunities, in Singapore across various industry domains. So it's not only banks or not only retail, but every industry domain, including the government, requires data analysts. Now, once you pick up skills in this course, you can transition into doing things like data engineering, handling big data, machine learning, become a data scientist. Once you go through a couple of more iterations or a few years in the industry, so you can always move to different kind of roles in an organization. Doesn't have to be only data analyst. It can be multiple others. Every industry has different names to it. So I would highly encourage everyone to be part of the program and go for it, and you'll end up in a space where you will start enjoying the work that you do and the growth that you get. So where do you start? You start at the SCTP Associate Data Analyst program, right? So I'm going to quickly run through what the program entails, what does it consist of, and what are you going to be learning. Now, the whole program is divided into 3 segments. The first segment talks about the foundations of data analysis, data science, and goes through 2 very important tools for a data analyst to know: Microsoft Excel and structured query language, which is SQL. Now, the basics of data science is a 3 days foundational module that primarily, opens up the black box and this buzzword that you hear, from everywhere around you today. It covers foundational concepts of what data is, what are the types of data, what are data visualizations, what is AI, and gives you information about all these jargons that are, all around us. You hear something and you're like, what is that, right? So this foundational module is going to kind of break open all these jargons and help you understand what data science is all about. Then once your foundations are built, then you start going into the different tools to allow you to do data analysis. Excel is a tool that we cover over 4 days or 32 hours. And millions of people across the world are using Excel, but fail to understand how powerful it can actually be. So Excel is a skill that is, very marketable. Everybody requires it, be it an analyst, be it a data scientist, be it, you're the management team. Everybody needs Excel to manipulate their data. So in this module, you learn about Excel, you learn about the various stages of the data lifecycle, and how do you clean data, transform data, create reports, and analyze data in Excel. So you will be doing that through the use of functions, pivot tables, charts, Power Query, what if analysis, so on and so forth. So there'll be a lot of learning in the program. Now, the fun part about this is that you get the opportunity to actually try it out on your own as part of capstone projects. So that's where you get to become a free bird, explore, and understand how you can do things. So every significant module has a capstone project, right? So the first one is about using Excel and creating an interactive report or dashboard. And that's over a period of 4 days again. So in this capstone, you'll be tasked to bring your own data sets, your own business problem through the internet. If not, we give you some. And then you are expected to go through the data and build up something very exciting and share it with your peers and instructors. These are a few things some of the past participants built. As you see, what they did spanned across various domains, HR, sales, and so on. And Then we go into SQL. We spent about 8 days because SQL is very important for a data analyst, right? It's called structured query language, and it's one of the main tools using which data analysts, engineers manipulate data. So in this module, you learn about SQL queries, how you can write operations to work with data. Post that, you will go into a capstone project that involves both Excel and SQL. That is covered over 4 days. And in this capstone project, now you're expected to make use of Excel to do reports and SQL to manipulate the data. So now you see how we're joining up the dots, right? So it becomes very exciting as you go through the program. Again, these are some of the reports that people built by bringing in data from SQL. You see, you have reports from the gaming world, you have reports from, help desk ticketing, you have reports from employee wellness. So it spans quite a fair bit of industry sectors. The second segment is maths and stats for data science. Now, everybody is scared when they hear maths and stats, and a lot of memes go around kind of depicting that. But we're here to break that myth that maths and stats is hard. It's not. What you will be learning as part of the maths and stats here is a foundation for machine learning, foundation for analytics, foundation for anything that you program henceforth. Here you learn about the inferential or the interpretation of maths and stats, not maths and stats from a derivation formula or trying to write 10 pages of steps. Here you understand why I'm writing something or why does this exist, right? So that's covered through various topics like matrices and linear algebra, basics of calculus, business analytics, and then statistics introduction itself. The last segment is where you then use this conceptual understanding of maths and stats and apply it to business intelligence, which is BI, and then programming on Python and analytics and machine learning on Python. So very exciting last segment. Microsoft Power BI, which Francis spoke about quite a fair bit, and rightly so, is a very, very intelligent tool or a very powerful tool that allows you to create very interactive reports for your management, for your stakeholders. And it is a very user-intuitive and user-driven tool. So in this 4-day program, you will learn how to use Power BI, what are all the features, how do you manipulate data, create pipelines to automate data transformation, and create very, very nice reports. And then that is followed by a capstone on Power BI. That's where you bring in data from various sources and you build reports yourself. And you will, trust me, you will love this, right? I like to use Power BI a lot myself, and this is one thing you'll really enjoy. Again, these are some past reports that people built, very interactive, very deep insights that they could gather from this. Lastly, we go to the Python segment, which is covered over 18 days. So we spend a significant amount of time doing foundations of Python programming, data analytics on Python, and machine learning on Python. We all know Python has been growing in demand. It has kind of taken over every other programming language, and it's very close to exponential growth. A lot of different papers, articles talk about why and how Python is growing. We won't get into the details, but just know that it's something that is very easy to learn and apply. So in this module, or in these 3 modules, you're going to basically learn foundations of Python, right from how to code in Python. So if you don't know programming at all, this foundational course will teach you how to code, and then how to apply that programming on analytics and machine learning, right? And that is important because knowing how to code and derive insights from data is a thing that is growing in demand. It gives you the problem-solving skills required, and it's being used everywhere. I don't need to tell you that every industry today is using Python for its analytics and ML, machine learning. Your last capstone project is going to be machine learning using Python programming over 5 days or 40 hours. And this is where you then do predictive analytics, do forecasting, you can do customer churn, you can do different sorts of predictive problems or predictive analytics problems that you come up with, right? Obviously, you would discuss with your instructors and find the right business problem, but this is the opportunity to do what's out there today or what's going out there today. So by the end of the course, you'll be familiar with tools such as Excel, SQL. SQL is another term for SQL. Then Microsoft Power BI and Python. But more importantly, the techniques and the skills that you gather are more important and transferable across different tools, different industries, different sectors, right? So analysis, visualization, storytelling, machine learning, and so on. So each and every day would consist of presentations, hands-on exercises, group discussions. You'll have capstone projects, you'll have assessments. All this would help reinforce your knowledge that you gain during the classes and give you more confidence in actually doing these things. Right? So that's a brief about the program, and I hope that this modular description will give you enough insight that excites you to join the program, and hopefully we will see you in the next batch. And our instructors are very good, and they will take you through a journey that will make you a data analyst. Thank you so much. And let me pass it back to Edmund to take over the rest of the program.
All right. Hey, thanks, Aditya. So just allow me to share my screen just a little bit. Hang on. Okay. I'll just be very brief. I just only have a few slides. Okay, so this is a SCTP program that I'm sure you have heard for our fellow trainee, Mr. Francis, who's the previous SQS Associate Data Analyst trainee, as well as Mr. Aditya, the founder of Xaltius, partnered with NTUC LearningHub for creating the program. All right, I'll just have just going to briefly go through. I'm sure Mr. Aditya has already explained all of the modules that you're going to go through. For me, let me just simply go through a few slides. Of course, for the SCTP Associate Data Analyst program, of course, you'll be structured training for 3.5 months. Okay, well, this course will be strictly instructor-led virtual training. Okay, will be face-to-face instructor-led. Okay, with a self-paced e-learning. They will work on the capstone under the guidance of the mentors and industry partners. Please note that all the capstone projects will be individual-based for the Associate Data Analyst program. Of course, you are able to have a peer consultation, of course, and you get your trainers to get more of your learning needs. If you face any challenges in your capstone, right? Most of the course modules are modularized, they are industry relevant. Of course, in this associate data analyst program track, right, of course, data analyst is always in the top 10 of the coveted skills that the employees are always looking out for, as well as AI machine learning and data-driven decision making skills, as you have seen in the red color bounding box. This is a survey that we have done in 2020. So I'm sure my colleagues already told you this is a SCTP program. It's a full-time training program with duration of 3.5 months. Of course, we willing to the criteria to be Singapore citizen and PR job seeker age between 21 and above. For the funding components, right? Okay, the full course fee is $18,000. If you are a Singaporean or PR who is above 21 years old, you will be eligible for a 70% SSG funding. And if you are above 40 years old for Singaporeans, you get 90% SSG funding. And for those who are disability and long-term unemployment, you will get to have up to 95% SSG funding. Well, of course, the criteria is very simple. You need to sit through the at least 75% attendance for each of the course and capstone project, and of course, sit and pass for the prescribed assessment and capstone projects. Okay. So Mr. Atiya has already presented all the course modules that you're going to go through for the 3.5-month programs. I'm going to just show you, these are the 13 modules that you're going to go through for all of the duration in the 3.5 months. Okay, total, all in all, you have 13 modules in total. Okay, the durations are on my right hand side and the course fees with GST as presented. All right, so there are 4 capstones in total. All right, you'll be going through all the basics of data science and also the data analytics using Microsoft Excel, followed by the capstone. And then after the capstone first project, you get the analyze data with SQL, followed by the capstone 2 project. After that, you have mathematics and statistics for data science, and followed by the business analysis and Power BI, then followed by the capstone project for Power BI to learn how to use all your skills that you acquired so far. Then finally, the most important part, as what Mr. Atiya mentioned, is the Python programming. You'll be using all the Python programming skills to learn how to build a machine learning model with Python, as well as the data analytics and creating interactive dashboard using Python, and then followed by the capstone, all in all. Okay, each of the modules you will have a certificate at the end of every assessment course that you sit and pass. Okay, at the end of all 13 modules, you will get 13 certs plus 1 more should you complete all the programs. There's the SCTP Associate Data Analyst. So total, all in all, you get a total of 14 certificates in total. Right. So that's my short sharing for today. So thank you so much. I'll hand over time to my fellow colleague, Mr. James. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, just give me a moment. Yes, so for today, I will present 2 SCTP programs. The first one is the Oracle Java Programmer. So a lot of you may ask why Java, right? Why take up this course, Java Programmer? Now, these are the few reasons why you should you can consider going to this this program. So, as we all know, a lot of enterprise desktops runs on Java. Java is the #1 choice for developers, and whether it's a TV or mobile phones, a lot of which is running on Java. Right. So Java is I would say, one of the core important skills that you have. Yeah, pivoting to next year, 2023. And as we can see from this chart here, Java is widely adopted. Of course, just now Emma has briefly mentioned about Python, and as you can see on the screen, Java is the top 2 language, and it's widely adopted. Yeah. So what is Java used for? So these are the few things that Java can be used for in terms of web development, in terms of desktop applications, network programming, software development, 3D graphics, and the list goes on. So yeah, so Java is a pretty important tool and skill set to have. And if you look at the under the VDC research done last year, you notice that Java is rated one of the key important skill set to have. Right. So Java has changed, you know, and in terms of the job roles that you can expect to be in, this is the various job roles once you have acquired the Java skill set. So jobs like web developer, systems engineer, mobile developer, even data analyst, right, or data engineer. All these will be the job roles that you can go for after you have acquired this skill. And of course, there is a pathway for a Java developer, and you can see from this chart here, moving from entry level to mid level to senior level, the remuneration for each role is slightly different, right? So if let's say you're going into a junior role, expect to get between 40 to 90K per annum, right? If you are moving on to a mid-level Java developer, then you can expect to get between 60K to 120K per annum. Yeah. So what are the common roles and responsibilities as a Java developer, right? So as a Java developer, you need to gather needs, you need to understand the program architecture, you need to maintain or optimize systems, develop code, deploy codes, and manage projects, and of course managing vendors. So in terms of the SCTP Oracle Java programmer, this is a 3-month course where we start off with a very basic entry-level introduction to programming and web development. That's for 5 days. And what you expect from these 5 days of training will be learning web technologies like HTML5, JavaScript, CSS3. Okay, you learn about the latest standards of Web 2.0 and web applications. And then after these 5 days, you move on to a capstone project, which is for another 5 days. And for these 5 days, you understand and learn about database fundamentals. So why is database important, right? So every company needs data, and they need to store data on a platform. So with this database fundamentals, you'll be able to learn how to create database objects, manipulate data, and administer a database. After the 5 days of capstone project, you will undergo a 5 days of database fundamentals, which I just briefly mentioned. And then you move on to Java SE, which is the programming one. This is the level 1 entry-level Java course, where you learn about the Java language, right? So after this level 1 Java programming course, you undergo a 10 days capstone project where you have practical hands-on exercise on what you have learned. And then you move to level 2 Java programming for 5 days. So where you will learn things like exception handling, lambda expressions, you know. So after this level 2 programming, there will be another capstone project, which will again emphasize on practical hands-on. And then we'll move to a 10 days course on Spring Boot fundamentals. So Spring Boot is also another important software, and it's an extension of the Spring framework, where you can learn how to build applications quickly. And this course actually offers hands-on experience as well. So all in all, you expect to finish up this program in 60 days or 3 months. And the beauty of this program is that not just theory, right? Not just learning the theoretical, but we also put you through capstone summative projects so that you have the hands-on knowledge. And that's where you will be able to share with the employers that you are job ready. Because as we know, the government is pushing hard for people to upskill, reskill to be job ready. So there's some of the previous trainees project work. So these are developed by our previous cohort under SG United. This is one of the car rental programs that is created by one of our ex-trainees, right? Okay. When we look at the cost fee, the total cost fee before funding is 70,980. And if you are a Singapore citizen age below 40, the price is around 5K. And of course, if you are above 40, there will be an enhanced funding subsidy of up to 90%. Right? For those who are unemployed for 6 months or more, the funding is up to 95%. So this is the full curriculum for this program. And yeah, so to sum it up, coding is the most valuable thing you can do for your career. This is by co-founder of Brady. Okay, if you have any questions about the SCTP Java programmer, please feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A chat box. And then I will move on to the next one, which is the Cybersecurity Associate powered by KPMG. Okay, so when we move over to the cybersecurity of KPMG. Okay, so just to give you guys some background to this program, what we have done actually is that, and you also notice that this is one of the few SCTP programs that marry both theory, which is the first 1.5 months of virtual classroom training, and on-the-job training. So the on-the-job training at KPMG office is physical, and that's where you have practical hands-on, on the real-life projects that's undertaken by KPMG with their clients. Yeah. So perhaps to start off, I want to give you guys an overview of the cyber threats in Singapore. Right? And you'll notice in this report by the Cybersecurity Agency of Singapore that just last year, half of the crimes in Singapore is actually under cyber crimes. Right? So almost half of our crimes in Singapore is under cyber crime. So which means to say that as we know, as security breaches gets more pertinent, there is a push from the government to create jobs in this area, cybersecurity specifically. And obviously there is a huge talent shortage in Singapore and also in Asia. And you also see in this report there is almost a 50% or more than 50% increase in ransomware. There are more computers getting affected on a daily basis. And you see that there are thousands of phishing URLs detected just last year alone, right? So all this goes to show that as we pivot towards 2023, where the situation was a bit the need for cybersecurity is high. And you also see that from the employer standpoint, cybersecurity becomes one of prime importance, right? So why should you join the SCTP Cybersecurity Associate Program? As I mentioned, there is a skills shortage in Singapore. This is by one of the news under TechWire Asia. From ISC Square, which is one of the top certification brands globally, they have found that in Asia Pacific alone, the workforce gap for cybersecurity is almost close to a whopping 1.4 million. And with Fortinet skillset report, in terms of training and certification, there is still a gap. So with this program, these are the kind of companies that that might hire you, right? So these are the companies that are hiring for cybersecurity positions, ranging from cyber analysts to incident responders to SOC analysts, right? So in terms of the eligibility criteria, we are looking at someone who comes from a network or security admin background with 2 years of experience, and the minimum education is STEM diploma. So this is a structured training for 4.5 months, where you undergo a 1.5 months of virtual classroom training, followed by 3 months of OJT at KPMG office, right? So in terms of the modules, you will see that we will start you off with the network and security essentials, followed by Microsoft Azure, followed by AWS Cloud, and then we will run you through 3 essential courses, followed by perhaps one of the more lucrative certifications in cybersecurity field, which is the CSSP. And then after this, we will bring you to the coaching activity. So just to give you a quick snapshot of the modules that you undergo. So network and security essentials basically comes from the CompTIA Network Plus and CompTIA Security Plus, where you learn how to configure, manage, and maintain network devices. And also you learn how to implement network security standards and protocols. And then next, you will undergo a Azure fundamentals. A lot of companies today uses Microsoft Azure, and this course will fundamentally teach you how to create and configure virtual machines in Azure, followed by AWS Cloud Practitioner Essentials. And AWS being one of the big brands in cloud, that's why this course is introduced in this program. Now the next module that you undergo will be the SOC, which is focusing pretty much on IT audit. Right, this is the 5-day course. And then we will put you through series as well, which is focusing on IT risk management. We'll put you through CJ, which is focusing on IT governance. And then last but not least will be the CSSP. This will be the one of the top certifications in cybersecurity. Right? And then after all the virtual classroom trainings, you will embark on a professional on-the-job training with KPMG. So prior to onboarding with KPMG, they will assess your background to see if you are a fit for a more technical or less technical role within the KPMG cybersecurity department. And the possible job roles that you might be assigned to, depending on your experience, and also depending on the projects that is undertaken. You may be a risk analyst, you may be a forensic investigator, or you may be a security analyst. Cloud security analyst. So during these 3 months, that's where also KPMG will assess your talent and performance. And if they find that you are a cultural fit to the organization, they'll be able to hire you. So from the last SGS program that we ran, 50% or half of the cohort being offered a job in the cybersecurity department, right? And you can see in this diagram that this is actually the cybersecurity skills framework by SSG. And these are the different job roles that you may want to pursue after taking on this program. So you may want to, if let's say you're less technical, you may want to go into governance, risk and control. If you are a more technical person, you may want to go into SCTP, incident response. And if let's say you are going into architecture, you may also go into security design engineering. So I'll leave the last slide here, which is basically Kevin is actually our ex-trainee from our G United program. He was not from a IT background per se, but he managed to put in the efforts, go through the classroom trainings, and really study hard, right? And he has the right attitude. And eventually he managed to get a job at KPMG after the program. Yeah. So this is just some advice and feedback from him that I would like to also share with you guys. If you're really interested to want to embark in a career in cybersecurity, this 4.5 months program will be quite brisk. I mean, you say it is quite, the time is short, and it's like a marathon where you really need to push yourself. Yeah. So I just want to set the expectation right that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be challenging. So if you are really going into the cybersecurity industry, you can take the opportunity to consider this program. Okay. Yeah, so I ended my presentation. Are there any questions that we should see? Okay, maybe let's take the opportunity to answer some of the Q&A. We have questions from Mary. If we have missed any sessions along the course, will there be any video links of the lessons of the class catch-up? So there will be no video links. All recorded videos is meant for audit purpose. We will not be able to share with you the videos of the class. Yep. So I guess we come to the end of the webinar. Okay, we have one more question from Peter Lai. Can you elaborate how challenging in cybersecurity as it is 24/7? Is challenging means long working hours? Well, to answer the question, Peter, I think importantly to note is that this program, when you are doing the training, it will be challenging in the sense that because the time is short, it's just 1.5 months back-to-back virtual classes. So you will need to devote time and efforts to finish up the assignments and the assessments that it entails. In terms of the job per se, there are different cybersecurity job roles. The one that you mentioned, if it's 24/7, would most likely be the SOC, which is the Security Operations Center. Yeah, and SOC is basically challenging in the sense that because it's long hours. But if you are pivoting away from security operations and going into security governance, then it's a different story, right? So different job roles will have the different challenges. Well, to answer you, Kristen, definitely age is not a barrier. If you're above 55 years old, it's still possible to enroll. But of course, we will go through a exercise like an interview with you to look at your background, to ascertain whether you are a good fit for this program. Yeah, so feel free to enroll. Yeah. Okay, I see there's no questions. Where to enroll? So I think Jessie has put up in the webinar chat for more information. Reach out to her. Yeah, Jessie, maybe you want to.
Yeah, sure. I have leave my contact numbers and email in the chat box. So if let's say you have any questions of the course fee or the program itself, feel free to reach out to me.
Finish fundamentals of Python.
Yep.
Which program I need to enroll? So if you're talking about Python, you can actually go for either the data analysis or the Java programmer role. Yeah, so I think more questions, any further questions, you can approach Jessie, and then she'll take it offline with you. Thank you.